Hello, friends. It has been a while, right? I looked back, it's been about a month since I came here to do a Facebook Live on the Productivity Power page. I am happy to see you all. Once again, it's been a wild 4 weeks, am I right? So I wanted to come back here. First of all, I want to say I am doing well. I am healthy and in my home, hunkering down and working away. So everything is good here. And I certainly hope the same is true where you are. I hope you're staying healthy, uplifting yourself, making it through this really challenging time. So that's the most important thing to say. Now I want to talk about, I want to dive back into our topic, productivity. And I want to talk today about a perspective that I've seen out there that I want to address or call out a little bit. And that is, you've probably been getting lots of emails and, seeing things on your feed and things like that in different social platforms about this. In fact, I saw a New York Times article the other day, and basically the message is, okay, everybody, this is hard. Don't worry about being so productive. Like, lower the thing with the productivity. Like, calm down. So, here's what I want to say about that. Now, I want to first acknowledge we are in a situation we've never been in. And working from home with everyone home, oftentimes with kids at home, it is, without childcare, it is a crazy situation for sure. So we want to acknowledge that first. But about this messaging, I've been hearing it, and it would always catch my attention, obviously, because I'm into productivity. And I read the New York Times article, and really good points are being made. So I'm not really talking about that. But I think it's interesting to say, let's not worry about being so productive, because what that said to me was it reveals something about our idea, our beliefs around productivity. It shows me that we have it a little skewed, and let me explain. So what I think it shows is that we sort of unconsciously accept this machine model, which I've talked about before, this machine model of productivity, which is about how much output, like let's just see if I can just work. It's like the on button is on, right? And when you have a machine model for productivity, what happens is your machine wears down and it breaks down, right? So the perspective that I like to take around productivity is a performance model of productivity. It's a performance model. So it's really an ecosystem of skills. It's not just about how much stuff can you pump out, how many hours can you work. It's not about that. It's how can you bring your best based on your design to what it is you intend to do. So it is more of an athlete's model, let's say. So, I was listening the other day on my Peloton run, and by the way, the Peloton digital app is free for 90 days. So check it out. This is perfect time to check it out. It has all sorts of classes, all the classes, and it has, things you might not expect, like cardio and all sorts of yoga, has all sorts of stuff on there. So I do outdoor runs with the Peloton app. And the other day I was doing a run that's part of a series related to doing training from your first marathon. And it's 18 weeks, the entire program. And I did one of the runs that was towards the end of that, like around week 17. So the other day I'm doing this run, and the person who's the coach in my ear is talking about this need when you're training not to first overtrain, and the second is towards the end, towards the time you're going to be performing, you want to start to taper your effort so that you have enough fuel to really be able to perform when it matters. So I was thinking about that, and really that's the athlete's mindset, right? That's the athlete's model, is thinking about what does it take to actually perform well when it matters. So it looks at all different types of factors involved. So, and one of the things he says is that people go a little nuts, during the taper, because they're so used to training so hard, working so hard, that it's a little freaky, right, for the mindset when you start laying back on your performance, on your effort, because you are wanting to save that and optimize your performance in the marathon. And then he said, we're training for a marathon, which is funny when you actually are training for a marathon. But the same thing is true for all of us. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And a lot of people I see are just taking what they've been doing at work in the co-located space and just trying to plug it in at home with a very different set of circumstances. And that's not going to work. What we need to become more attuned to is, what does it take for great performance? And that means we'll need to modulate, right? We will need to calibrate how we our effort in order to get the results that we want, in order to be productive. I have no doubt that during this time, if people want to, and that's a big if, right? If people want to, this is an opportunity to really understand what it takes to be productive, because everything, all those automatic habits that may or may not be so productive are being thrown up in the air. We're in a completely different situation, right? And so now we can build our productivity by really examining, what does it take? So let me give you an example. One thing that I have been hearing on and on and on from pretty much all my clients, from my friends, from just about everybody, is how tired they are, right? People are on these Zoom calls for hours on end, and that's a whole other story we can talk about. But we're just kind of trying to drive forward, do childcare, do all the things, figure out when you're going to go grocery shopping, figure out if you have a mask. Like, everything is different, right, in our lives right now. How we shop, how we live, how we recreate, how every exercise, everything is different. And so in the idea that we can just plug and play at home, no problem, I have a laptop, let's go, people are finding they're getting really tired. Now, with the athlete's mindset, you're thinking about performance. Well, being tired all the time is actually not going to serve me and my productivity over the long term. So I need to take that into my own hands and make some adjustments. I need to adjust how I'm doing this thing called work or life or whatever else it is. So that's what I would encourage you to think about in the coming days, is, what does it take for me to be productive? This challenge is, from my perspective, we can use this really difficult challenge to rewrite our own playbook about how we work and how we live and how we connect and all of the things. There will be some, this will not be forever, and yet let's use it to rise, to get better, to understand our own performance better, because I really think this is a time we can do that. We can find new and innovative ways of working. I read an article about some studies that were done about how much work actually gets done in an 8-hour workday, let's say, and the figure that came out was about 3 hours. And I know from the book Deep Work that there's been research around how much concentrated effort on work can you do, and it's around the 4-hour range. So one little shift that I suggest that you could make during this time, let me just give you a couple. One is, lower your expectations. I actually think that this is what these articles saying, don't worry about being so productive, are really about. It's like, it's really about not don't be productive. It's about, you may need to re-look at what your expectations are about your performance. This is a key opportunity to really understand the art of prioritizing and how powerful it can be to have a singular focus, or really tightened focus, and not try to be all things to all people or whatever, or all projects. So that's one, is look at lowering your expectation a little bit, and then move from a time sort of approach to a results approach. Really focus in on what's that one thing I want to get done today, and look at that. But be sure you're also incorporating all the other things that go into being productive. In my productivity model, that includes motivation, mindset, vitality, method, and connection. So how are all those things working together now? What shifts can you make? How can you simplify in order to continue to be productive in this challenging time? Because I know we can. I know we can have the impact that we want. And that's so important right now because we feel out of control of the situation to a large degree. Being able to have impact in the things that matter to us, in our families, in our relationships, and in our work is going to shift our mood, our energy, our outlook, our motivation if we focus that way. So let's not just say goodbye productivity, whatever, but let's maybe focus our expectations, lower our expectations, and then calibrate our effort to what it is that we want to accomplish during this time. So yeah, and then the art that this brings to the productivity game is learning how to assess your performance and adjust and calibrate. That's what true high performers do, right? They are constantly looking for how to hone their performance given whatever the circumstances are. So it's not blindly just turning the on button and going as fast as you can. It's really taking in what are the circumstances and how do I use my own design to leverage up my performance. So for all those articles out there telling you, don't you worry about your performance, or don't you worry about your productivity, let's not equate productivity with just pumping stuff out. Let's equate productivity with the ability to have the impact that you intend in a way that's sustainable over time for the marathon, not just for this sprint. Sometimes we have to sprint. Right now, I think we're in a marathon, so let's recalibrate. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you're finding your footing in all this wildness going on. And I do want you to know that I have a work from home productively webinar. It's a 90-minute webinar that I did earlier in the month. I'm going to be doing it again in another 10 days or so, 2 weeks. You can look on my website, lindsaysatterfield.com, if that's interesting to you, and find out when it is. I'm coming up with the date. The date isn't settled yet, but it's going to be in probably not next week, but the week after that. So if you'd like some tangible techniques and approaches to working from home productively during a really turbulent time, that's what I want to deliver in that webinar on working from home productively. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you're finding your footing, and I'll see you here next week.